If the magical YouTube gods are working, we are actually live on the internet right now. I don't care how many times I do that. I am always unsure if I'm live until I see myself on there. I just do not trust it saying you're live. Doesn't work for me. And it's the delay that makes it awful, right? Because I pressed the button 15 seconds ago and I still don't see it on this end. So it's like,
Oh,
look at that. There we are. We are live. It was just me staring off in the distance like I was thinking about something. Awesome. It's working. And I see we got some folks already here in the chat. Hello, Taylor, Paul, Leo. Good to see y'all here. If you could let us know if you can see and hear everything all right, if you would drop that in the chat, that will make my anxiety go down just a little bit to know that everything's working. We used to live stream all the time and I got used to it and as comfortable as you can be. And I did one last week and didn't realize that my screen, I was doing like a screen share, my screen had froze and I'd been talking for like 15 minutes writing CSS and demoing things. I had to go all the way back and start over. I was like, that is not great. Kyle is frozen picking his nose. Well, no, I've just been picking for a long time. It's very stuck in there, so it takes a while. Sweet. Well, I guess they can hear and see us all right. So we'll go ahead and get started in here. Abby, hello, welcome. I'm so glad to have you on another live event here at the Admin Bar.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Lovely to see and, well, read everybody, not hear everybody. Good to be here.
Absolutely. And I will say for anybody, as we're going through this, I'm going to keep the chat open here. If you see me kind of looking this direction, it's me checking the chat here. So if you have questions or anything, drop them in there. I'm going to try to keep up as we go and get those into Abby so she can answer them here. But so for people who haven't joined you on the live stream here before, why don't you start off by giving us a little introduction of who you are and what you do?
Sure, these things are always like, hey, introduce yourself in 10 seconds or less.
You can have as long as you want.
Thank you. We'll just keep going. My name is Abby Wood. I live in Waterford, Ireland. I am the proud owner of the Content Lab, which is a white label copywriting and content writing agency. And I also own Content Goodies, which is white label templates for website copy and blogs.
And one of the best URLs I know of, contentgoodies.com. I love it.
I was amazed that was free. Honestly, I was like, who didn't buy that?
I found one and then two related ones this week and ended up buying 3 domains right away. And then like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours later, deciding it was all a terrible idea and not going to use any of them. But I was super excited to see that they were all there. Well, sweet. Well, we're going to dive in here and talk about the subject at hand today, which is blogging. Essentially, Abby has released a new pack through Content Goodies called the All-in-One Blogging Pack. And we kind of want to talk about why that exists and do some education on kind of like what's going wrong with our blog posts and things like that. I posted in the group this morning that we have over 200 posts on the Admin Bar's website, and a significant amount of those, a disproportionate percentage of them that actually rank and bring in traffic are ones that Abby wrote and not ones I wrote. So I know Abby's a talented writer and has a lot more experience than me, but something tells me she also has some tricks up her sleeve that help her do that more consistently. So I definitely want to pick your brain about that. So let's just start off by talking about what is the All-in-One Blogging Pack.
So the All-in-One Blogging Pack is basically a bunch of information. I'm really selling it here. Bunch of information, bunch of guides, bunch of templates that you can either use in your own agency or with your clients. And kind of it gives you kind of sales scripts and that kind of thing, and how to sell blogging as a recurring revenue service. But the main thing that I find most people find most useful with it is actually the templates for writing blogs. So we've included a couple of freebies in there as well. So there is a list of 50 blog titles that you can kind of make your way through and rehash and rewrite for all the different industries that you serve. There's also a bunch of templates that you can use. So it lays out kind of how to write the introduction, the main points of each type of blog. And we've split it up into kind of how-tos, tips, expertise sharing blogs, that kind of stuff. So they're all kind of laid out differently depending on the type of information that you want to include and kind of where they are and kind of the funnel and everything, and also kind of your end goals with the bits and pieces. And I've also popped in 3 ones for digital agency owners themselves, which I have found to be the better ranking blogs that I've written over the years for different digital agencies. So kind of we have, how much does a website cost? We've laid that out into different sections so that you can write it for your own site, and hopefully rank high on Google.
One of the blog posts that ranks really well for the admin bar is, how much does a copywriter cost? If everybody would go Google that right now, just Google how much does a copywriter cost and tell me where the admin bar ranks for that. When I search it here, it comes up number 1. And that is an article that Abby wrote for us. So if you have the magic sauce on writing those kinds of the how much does it cost article, I definitely want to get my hands on that for sure.
You give me anxiety now in case everybody's turning up with like, it's number 37.
No. I have confidence. See, when you go live, you just got to have confidence that it's going to work out.
It's number 1. It's all good.
That's right. I'm guessing we'll see number 1, 2, or 3 on all of these. So I'm just waiting for the buffer to catch up here and for people to answer us. So I think that's one of the things, like, I'm not a writer, but I do a lot of writing. And I think when I first started doing this, first started having to write a lot of things, I would stare at a blank screen and be like, man, I just don't even know where to start. Like, how does a copywriter show up every day and say, I'm going to start writing now? Like, the only time I could write is when I felt inspired to say something, right? So some thought would hit me and I'd be like, okay, I have to write right now because I'm passionate about whatever this thing is and I could write. But if it was just like, Kyle, it's time to write now and you have to write this blog post, I was terrible about it. And what I realized was one of the huge tricks that a lot of copywriters use is just having some kind of formula or some kind of template to use or some kind of system to have put in place for you to go off of as that like starting point. So is that how y'all do things inside your agency?
Yes, it's definitely, it's a tricky career to have. I'm not going to lie. So myself and my team, we're, writing for like 35, 40 hours a week. And that is nonstop, that takes dedication and a very spongy brain to be able to sit down in front of a laptop and the blinking cursor of nightmares and actually, write something nonstop, 8 hours, it was 7 hours a day. They do get a lunch break, and 7 hours a day, and do that, especially when it's around topics that either you're not familiar with. So if you're writing for clients, it can be very tricky. If you're not familiar with kind of their end users as well, their target audience, it can be very, very tricky to be like, okay, what do these people actually care about? And then you've got to wrap up all of that user intent stuff with the Google stuff as well. So you need to make sure that it's ranking for them so that you can show that you're going to get them good results and all this kind of thing. There's a lot of pressure there. And, you combine the pressure of having to deliver all that stuff and to be able to prove that, the ROI on blogging is very difficult to prove, as well as just actually knowing what to write. So what we've done in the content lab in my agency is we have kind of like starting points to get us started. They're basically like little templates. And when I say kind of the templates, it's not like we copy and paste every single blog, based on this template. It's like, you want to list out kind of the main areas that you're going to be talking about. So whether that is pain points or whether that is, kind of the benefits of a specific service or whatever that is, and then the alternatives to your solution or, kind of all that good stuff. So we're basically breaking it down into different sections. And just like with website copy, there is a user journey that is expected in blogs. So, you want to kind of bring them on that journey of just like, this is what we're going to be talking about. This is the issue you're facing. This is the result that it's having in your life or your business or whatever. And here are the steps to solving that, or, these are the options you have, and then wrap it up in a beautiful little conclusion with a CTA of kind of positioning you as the go-to kind of person. So yeah, there is a way of getting around kind of the blinking cursor, believe me. Yeah. But yeah, it is tricky. It is tricky, especially if, you're not used to writing 24/7 like I am, and my team are, and you're also thinking, wow, I have like 6 other things to do today. I can't waste 7 hours writing a blog post.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I wonder, because you obviously specialize in working with agencies, so you look at a lot of agencies' blogs, whether you're writing things for them, but I'm sure you look at a lot of stuff they've written too. So I wonder, what are those things you're spotting inside of agencies' blogs that they're writing themselves, where you're going, man, this is where they're really screwing up. Like if they would fix these couple things, what are those big things that if they would fix these little things, they would see a lot more success?
Yeah, there's a few. I'm not going to lie, there is a few. And kind of it depends on where you are in your journey with blogging as to how much you know about what should or shouldn't be included in a blog. So I'm just going to go generalist, kind of straight in the usual suspects of kind of bad form for blogging. So the number one would be doing blogs that are too short. So kind of I've seen people put up 300 words, and it's just like, that isn't going to convert your audience. It's not going to connect with your audience. It's not going to rank on Google, because Google's going to be like, what use is this? So I think too short blogs 100% that's also a personal pet peeve for sure, is kind of like 500 words. What are you going to cover in that? Then we have when they suffer from weitis. So it's a hard sell, and it's just like, we do this, we do that, kind of our service will do this and do that, and it's not focused on the end user. So a big thing for writing blogs is, you're sharing your expertise and you're sharing the solutions, but you've also got to come at it from the reader's point of view. So they don't want you to, nobody likes to be sold to. They don't want you to just be like, buy from me. I can do this, for this price. They want you to kind of build up that trustworthiness and share your expertise, give them a little bit of kind of freebie advice, that kind of stuff, so that you can show that you know what you're talking about. And then if they're interested, then they can hire you. But it's all about kind of building that authority, really. I would say that. And also I would say just the word soup as well. If they're just putting words on the page for no particular reason, but they feel like they need to hit 2,000 words because Google loves it, but it's just like shoving words in there for no real reason, not user friendly at all. And obviously we all know, with Google's helpful content update and all this stuff, they're really seeing how long people are reading, and kind of how they're interacting with the content, how they're converting, what other bits and pieces they're doing on your site. So I think the main overarching theme is to create content that is delivering real value. Word soup does not do that. And same with keyword stuffing. I know it's pretty old school, but there's still a lot of people that do it,
Sure.
So yeah.
I'm guilty of the word vomit all over my blog posts, not because I'm trying to hit some magical number, but just because I can't shut up sometimes. I'm just typing the way it's like coming out in my brain. So I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah, first draft, 100%. Get it all out, but then go in and edit. Kind of. Who was it? Was it Ernest Hemingway who said, "You write drunk and edit sober"? No, I'm not encouraging that. But that general theme of get it all out.
You're not encouraging that. It is Friday. I think it's interesting to look at it that way, because I'll look at websites, right? And some client will come to me and another agency built it, or they built it themselves, and I'm like, man, I just spot all these tiny little things that if we could fix these little things, like this website would be 100 times better. And I just know we're making some of those same mistakes with blogging as well. So Taylor asked in here, he said, is it better to write nothing than to write a 300-word blog post?
Controversial opinion, yes.
Better.
I know that, yeah, just in my opinion, like, I think, kind of, if you're just if you're just updating your website for the sake of updating it, I don't think you're doing your company justice. I don't think that, kind of, it's not gonna, nobody's gonna log on and be like, oh, I'm gonna get those 200 words, down and read what's going on and stuff. Make it, it's quality over quantity. It always is, kind of. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'd rather see somebody kind of wait 3 months and do a 1,500-word blog post that really goes into detail about something they genuinely care about, and can really provide their readers with useful information, than just pumping out 300 words on a Friday afternoon because it's on the to-do list and you should really blog.
Yeah, I think of it this way, like Taylor said, okay, I'll stick to writing nothing. I think of it this way.
No.
If you can answer something thoroughly and fully in a way that you're communicating it clear to somebody else to be able to understand, and you can do that in 200 words, then it's probably not even a topic that's worth addressing on your website, right? It's like, what's the most popular color car or something, right? You could answer that in 200 words, but it's probably not that valuable to the visitors of your website or bringing in traffic to your website. You know?
Instead, if Taylor, if you're answering like really common questions and it's only 300 words, turn it into an FAQ. You know, kind of bundle them all up and be like, here's the most frequently asked questions that we hear, that kind of thing. Because I'm sure if people are Googling that stuff, then, you know, kind of you're still getting a little bit of SEO juice from it, but it's not going to be like 300 words. It's going to be, you know, kind of like, here's a comprehensive guide to frequently asked questions about this one thing. So that could be another way of doing it, is just bundling it up for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think if I searched on Google for like how to write better blog posts and I landed on an article and it was 200 words long, I'd be like, there's no way this is going to help me write better blog posts. There's just not enough here, you know, to really help me through this issue. Yeah. So, you know, one thing I know everybody's dealing with now is like, how do they incorporate AI and ChatGPT into all these systems? How does this work with copywriting? Are we just going to put questions into ChatGPT and take what it says and paste it into our websites? I'm sure you're dealing with those questions through your clients as well. But one thing that I've found is really helpful is being able to give ChatGPT a more detailed framework of what I'm wanting. So I've even gone in there, and I think I shared this in a video a while ago, like I had it analyze a bunch of my writing and figure out, you know, have it tell me what my writing style is. And then I can feed that back to it to be able to write more like me, not 100%, but definitely closer. And I wonder how, you know, in the templates you're giving and the frameworks and everything, how well do you think that would work inside of something like ChatGPT to help train it to use the methodology you're teaching inside the all-in-one blogging pack?
Good, I think. So you can take the template. So obviously kind of it lists out what sections are needed. So you could technically write this section about this and give it to ChatGPT or one of the competitors. You definitely could do it. I think that by following the frameworks and either writing it yourself or using ChatGPT to do it for you and then going in and editing it, you're going to come out with something a lot better and a lot more likely to connect with a visitor than if you just like ask ChatGPT, hey, can you throw out 1,000 words on this subject? Because it is going to dwindle through stuff and maybe include stuff that isn't accurate or include stuff that isn't interesting, and kind of splitting it into those chunks as well. Make sure that kind of you're taking the blog where you want it to go and where your readers want it to go as well, rather than just kind of, you know, analyzing a bunch of stuff online and then copying that framework as well. We do have in the pack as well, I have included like a little best practice list and a checklist and stuff. So you can go through and make sure that whatever kind of blog you've created has everything that it needs to rank well and to also, you know, kind of engage users and stuff. But yeah, you definitely can use ChatGPT. Now, full disclosure, everyone knows if you've never met me before, I'm not a fan of ChatGPT because I am a copywriter, I'm a writer. But I think if you struggle to write and you just want to get something out there, it's a great way to get rid of writer's block. So pop it in and, you know, kind of pop in our prompts or whatever, have a look at what it's created. And does that represent you and your opinion on that matter? Or is it just kind of, you know, generic or whatever? And edit it. For the love of everything, edit it. Whatever comes out of ChatGPT, you want to edit 100%. But yeah, you definitely can combine the two.
I think, you know, it's interesting when new technology comes out like this, especially something as big as ChatGPT has been and AI copywriting and all that. I think the tendency is like just to hand it everything and say, okay, now you just do everything now. And I imagine I've figured out on my own, like, okay, there's places where it's helpful, places where it's not as helpful. I've actually done the opposite of what you said. I've had better luck writing the whole thing myself and then having ChatGPT help me go back and edit things, right? So then I could say, okay, here's the blog post I've written. Here's the things I want to make sure to cover. You know, I want to make sure that these points are hit. I have, you know, your checklist full of things in there. Help me figure out, have I done these things? Have I not done these things? And I found it to be a lot easier to work with it that way than to have it do the initial writing, you know?
Yeah, it depends on your own skill set, I think. So some people will really struggle to write because, you know, not everybody's a natural writer, you know, kind of, I'm not a natural developer. I'm very upfront about that. I can build a website, but it's freaking terrible, you know, whereas, you know, other people are great at editing stuff or proofreading stuff. So kind of, no matter what you say, you're a very good writer, Carl. I've read your stuff before. It's very good. You know, kind of, and sometimes some people just need a little bit of editing help. But yeah, I think it's definitely an option, for sure.
So I want to dig into the product a little bit more and have you help us understand what all's in there. So when we purchased this, I've put a link here inside of the chat, and also Abby's gave us a coupon code of thanks Kyle that gives you $100 off. So I'm going to dump all that in the chat here too. And if you're watching this not live sometime in the future, I'll make sure that all those links and everything's included somewhere around the video. But so when we go through the purchase on this and open it up, exactly what are we going to see as far as deliverables? Are these videos, or is it just PDFs? What else is included in here?
Any course, and for the moment there aren't videos, but that is in the works. I'm creating videos for it to walk you through it if you're more of a visual learner. So at the moment, kind of when you first log in, it goes in order of how to sell blogs, how to research blogs, how to write blogs, how to edit and optimize blogs, you know, and how to kind of measure your investment and all that good stuff. So it goes through step by step. And then there are a bunch of templates that you can use. I am going to bring it up just so I don't forget anything. Let's have a little look. So, so we have how to sell blogging to different types of clients. So how to overcome the common, like, oh, I can do this myself, or, oh, why does it cost this much, or whatever. Then we have a guide on how to price your blogging services. There's 10 benefits of blogging that you can show your clients. There's blog writing statistics, which can also help persuade them to convert. Then we have how to write great blog titles, how to choose the right topics for blogs, and best practice, blog writing checklist. There's 50 titles in there as well that I've created and popped in there. How to do keyword research, our tried and tested resources for blog writing, so what we use in our agency. Then we have a blog brief template, so you can go ahead, and this is what we use in the content lab. You can go ahead and repurpose that for yourself, use it with your own copywriters, and you can send it over to clients to fill in if you're doing the work for them. We have free blog templates for your agency, so I think there's 3 or 4 in there of blog templates that you can go ahead and start writing on immediately. And there's also a content calendar template, and then I think it's 7 blog type templates. So why, what, tips, opinion / expertise, list, and how to. So there's a mixture. We do have PDFs in there, but we also have Google Doc versions of everything as well. Nice. So you can just copy and edit it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad I asked that question, because there's a whole lot there. I wrote down a few of these things because I'd like to dig into them a little bit more. I think the writing part is not that it's easy, but it's more obvious what writing a blog post is, right? I would love to know, you know, maybe you could give us a sneak peek at something that's in there on a few of these categories. So one would be how to sell blogging, because that, to me, you know, I'm used to selling websites and people are coming to me for websites, right? I have a lot of clients that I think could really benefit if there was regular content put on their website. But obviously the word blog, I think, has a bad connotation, right? Like if I ask just a normal person off the street, they're going to think a blog is like somebody talking about what they ate last night for dinner, right? So I tend to say we should write some articles for your website. But yes, why don't you give us one of the, you know, a little sneak peek into some of the tips you have about selling blog articles?
Let me just open it up. Yeah, and that's a very good point about language choice as well. So depending on the type of client that you work with is depending on the type of language that you're gonna use. So, you know, kind of there are some people that you know, kind of articles or news items or whatever, you know, kind of blog, for some reason, you know, kind of blogs have been around for forever now, but it's still got that, you know, kind of food blogger kind of, you know, lifestyle kind of connotations to it.
Yeah, I mean, I write a ton, but I would never call myself a blogger. Like, I don't know.
I don't call myself a blogger. No, not at all.
No offense to bloggers. I just don't identify with it.
Yeah, no, it's just not a term that kind of I would use. And if you're pitching kind of blogging services, you know, kind of you're not using a blogger, you're using a content writer, which sounds a little bit more upmarket. It's not, and I really don't want to offend anybody. It's just words have connotations and we don't have much power out over that. So yeah, so say if we have somebody who is brand new to the online world, and kind of they've never written a blog, they've never paid anyone to write a blog, their website is brand new, they don't have any kind of presence online, so kind of the guide for this particular type of client, kind of we run through exactly what they want. So they want to establish their presence online, show off their credibility, and start building their brand online. Then we have kind of the three main reasons why they say no to hiring a professional to do it for them. So they don't see the point in blogging, they can write blogs themselves, or they haven't got a budget at all for blogging. And kind of the way that you would handle them is kind of explain SEO and go into details of that with them. So they may have heard the term SEO before, but they don't know everything that goes into it. So one of the things I like to do, and selling content is it's its own kind of art form within the website world of selling websites. So, you know, kind of even just asking, you know, are you going to provide meta titles and descriptions? And they'll be like, I don't know what that is. It's like, oh, they're really important, you know, to help you rank and stuff. And you need to know how to research it and write it. And, you know, kind of how are you going to be doing the research for the keywords, you know? So there is a lot of stuff that you can really drive home just how much effort and time and, you know, kind of expertise is needed in the back end to make a blog rank, and, you know, bring up, you know, kind of this needs to be more than 300 words. It needs to be, sorry, Taylor, that sounded quite bitchy. I did not mean to be bitchy there. It's just the number that came into my head. And, you know, kind of it's, you know, kind of there's a lot more that goes into it if you want to get the results and the return on your investment. And then kind of, you know, you can give them examples. So you can show, you know, kind of their competitors that are doing it, you know, kind of how the big brands build their brand through blogging. And then, you know, kind of you can even bring up like a professionally written blog and a DIY blog. You can show them the difference on how they perform. You can show kind of, you know, the difference on conversion, all this good stuff. And then just the general quality as well. That's just a little bit of an insight into kind of one of the little guides anyway.
That's awesome. No, this is great. I'm going to ask about a couple more because this is fascinating. But, you know, that's one thing I've had to go through this exercise. It's like so much client education, but when we talk about blogging, we're talking about SEO, right? Most of the time I can help get them into that, but I'm like, okay, so let's say you sell widgets, right? You have the best widgets in the world. If somebody Googles, where can I buy a widget? And you were the first, you know, the first link that came up when somebody did that, how much would that be worth to you? And obviously it's going to be worth tons of money. And I say, okay, well, let's Google some things like that and see what kind of results we get back. And you'll notice a lot of the things that come up are going to be blog articles. They're not going to be the homepage necessarily, or, you know, depending if it's a widget, maybe it is a product page, but if it's a service or something, a lot of times all those are going to be blog articles. And it's a great way to like prove to them like, hey, look, we're just going to do this live together. And you can look and you can see, you know, Google, how much does a copywriter cost, and find the admin bar's blog article that supplies the answer, right? It's not on our homepage. It's going to be through that article. So I think it's a different thing you have to sell than selling websites. Like it's a different way to look at it. So that's interesting. So I did put the call to action here inside the chat. If anybody has any questions for you, make sure to drop them inside the chat so I can ask them directly to you before we lose having you here. We might as well take advantage of every second we get. I think the other thing I'm really terrible at, so I would love to ask this, is research part of this. I absolutely hate to research anything. I'd rather not do it at all. Most of the time when I write about something, it's just, like I said, because I was inspired to write about it. So I'd love to hear, you know, some of your thoughts on the research side of this and kind of some of the stuff you include inside of this pack.
So my general tips, if you're writing for yourself, it's a lot easier than writing for a client, because you know the questions you get asked on a daily basis from leads. You know kind of the common issues that your clients have. So if you are blogging for yourself, start by just writing those down. whether that's on a piece of paper or, you know, kind of on your next few sales calls, make a note of the common questions. And again, it's going to come up with the same stuff, like how much does a website cost? How much does a website, you know, how long does the website take to build? You know, kind of how many pages do I need on a website? All that good stuff. But yeah, so I would start with that anyway. If you've never blogged before, that is how I would start. Literally just the most common questions that you hear. If you are working with an end client, get them to do it. Or if you have access to like their salesperson or whatever, pick their brain for a little bit. Don't be afraid to like really, you know, dive deep with the actual client, because they have all the information that you need. So, you know, kind of for our agency, obviously we do kind of the background research, the competitor analysis, and then the keyword research and stuff. But a part of it is doing a kickoff call with the end client and just being like, give us your information, basically. In a lot nicer way. But yeah, in terms of researching, obviously kind of keyword research, I'm sure most of us here are already familiar with how to do keyword research and key phrase research and stuff. But kind of in our agency, we use SE ranking, and we also use Surfer SEO, and we kind of combine the two of those to see what people are searching for. You've always got, you know, kind of you know, forums and all that good stuff as well. You can have a look at social, like LinkedIn, see what people are, you know, kind of asking in general, what in, you know, kind of advice they're sharing between each other. Kind of try and think outside the box as well. Like, you don't just have to, like, I know I keep going back to, you know, how much does a website cost? How much does a copywriter cost? But, you know, kind of when you get into, you know, kind of researching the buckets or the columns of content that you're going to be writing to, you can really kind of deep dive into a subject and just really completely think outside of the box. It doesn't have to be, you know, the cookie cutter, you know, kind of questions that you hear. I mean, you know, we had a guest post on agency analytics, which, you know, kind of it's not meant to drive traffic or anything, but it was, you know, kind of what can you learn about marketing from like 15 pop songs or something. I don't know. I wrote it a few months ago. I can't remember what it was.
It was a great article. I shared that article.
You. But yeah, you know, you can have fun with something, and it depends on your own brand as well. Like, if you're super serious and you're helping, you know, kind of lawyers or doctors or whatever, you know, kind of the stuff that they're going to want to read is going to be very different from, you know, creatives. So I can get away with being quirky in my content because we work with a lot of creative, quirky people, you know, kind of a lot of entrepreneurs and digital agency owners and stuff. I just went completely down the rabbit hole. Research.
No, you're good. I think it's funny. Every time I try to avoid doing keyword research or research in general, because I just want to get shit done. You know, it feels like I'm not making progress when I'm doing that. Right. But every time I do it, I realize, like, you know what? Not everybody speaks the same way I do. Shocker. Yes. You know, can you believe that? Not everybody uses the same words I use. So they might not phrase this. So whatever came out of me naturally as I'm writing this might be such a small sliver of the pie that if I would just change the way I'm phrasing some of these things, I could have much better results. And it's only doing the research on those kinds of things that makes the difference, you know?
Yeah, a big part of that is knowing your audience, but it's also, you know, kind of like even just like local slang. Like if you're targeted, you know, kind of at a specific geographic location, you need to speak the same language they speak. But, you know, kind of you're 100% right, you know, kind of the amount of times people will type not full words into Google and stuff, and it's just like, you know, kind of if it's super popular, try and fit it in, you know, kind of you can do it in a jokey way if you want, but you know, it's understanding your audience, understanding how they speak, because not only have you got to rank for it, you've also got to connect with them through the content. So if you're speaking the language they speak, then they're going to know that you understand them. Whereas say kind of, you know, if it was, use the admin bar as an example, if it was a digital agency owner and, you know, kind of, or a web developer, and they were looking for, you know, how to outsource, you know, to a VA or something, you know, kind of, I think pretty much everyone knows what outsource means and VA means. Whereas if you went to, you know, kind of somebody that wasn't very tech savvy and didn't really have a lot of knowledge about stuff, they wouldn't be looking to outsource to a VA. They'd be looking to, you know, kind of how can I, you know, clear my workload, or how can I, you know, reduce my working hours, or whatever it is, completely off the top of my head. But it's all about understanding kind of intent.
Yeah. And you can't just do that inside your head. Like the only way to do that is to get out and look at things, right? Jonathan asked a question here in the chat and reminded me of a client. So I had a client that I convinced to do some SEO. This was years back, and this was before I knew you. This was maybe before I was really doing admin bar stuff, and we were using just some content mill place to like crank out 300 word articles. So it was obviously doing him no good, but we got about 10, maybe 15 articles in. And I said, here's some ideas on what we could do next. If your clients have any questions, about that you get asked all the time, let me know and we can try to work those in. He's like, you know what? I think we've covered every topic you could cover about my industry. His industry, you could not cover it in 15 blog posts, which is interesting. He thought, we were pretty much done blogging at some point, right? And Jonathan asked in here, he said, is there something to be said for having a deep blog so that people read more than one post as they land on a site? And I do think that is so huge, like bringing people into your world,
Absolutely. I think, because the idea is that, kind of, you want to give them so much great information that they just want more from you. And not only are we writing to answer their questions, but we've also got to keep in mind, what are we trying to sell? I know I said don't hard sell, but we are framing everything around your service. So say if, kind of, you are a web developer and, kind of, you're not going to be talking about like used car sales or something like that. You need to keep it, kind of around the area that you're trying to sell in. But I can't remember where I was going with that. So in-depth blogs, absolutely fantastic. Cornerstone content, fantastic. I think the largest blog we ever did for a client was it was a whopper, and I want to say it's around 20,000 words. It was the same as a book. Like it was number one on Google. They get a bunch of leads from it, kind of every single month. It's doing great. They've broken it up into PDFs and downloads and email series and everything else and social updates and stuff. No, I'm not saying, kind of, you go to my website, there's no 20,000 word blog posts, but
there's one pretty close on the Admin Bars blog. But I wrote it over a like several month span. It was like updates all the time. So kind of cheated.
And that's a good point as well. Kind of, I know we're talking about doing blogs faster and making it more streamlined and stuff. There are some topics that you will spend weeks writing about, and that's just part and parcel of it. Not everything has to be, kind of instant. Not everything has to be done in a morning over a cup of coffee and then published. I always say we want to aim for kind of at least once a month, like once a week would be friggin' amazing. But, we have businesses to run, we have lives to live. But kind of at least once a month. But kind of don't, if it's an in-depth topic and kind of it doesn't really change too much kind of over time, then revisit old stuff, or kind of take your time and spend plenty of time and energy and love onto the piece.
Well, that's the last one. After you read kind of all the sections inside of your pack, the last one I wrote down was kind of the calendar part of it, right? So that's a huge struggle too. And I know just in table conversations with people, we meet every week and we're talking about, goals people have inside their agency. And there's a lot of people in there that say, hey, I need to write, another blog post, or a blog post a month, or a blog post a week, or whatever it is. And it's really hard to stick to that schedule. So I wonder, do you think it's better? And this is probably just opinion, but would you rather me crank out 3, we'll say 70%, like a C level blog post a month. So 3 C's or 1 A a month.
Very much opinion. And this is based on my own high levels. I would prefer 1 A piece than 3 C pieces. And there are a few reasons to that. So one, and this is a very personal thing, I am only happy putting my name on something that I'm very proud of. So, kind of, if I'm putting out C pieces and that's representing me and my level of skill and my company to people that are interested in working with me, it's given them a certain, kind of level of what I work at. And that isn't the level I work at. I work at the A level. I don't work at the C level. So I think, kind of, I would prefer to spend a little more time, a little more energy on the one piece and make it absolutely amazing. And use that. And again, kind of going back to, kind of, the helpful content update and stuff, if it's an A piece, somebody's going to absolutely love it. If it's a C piece, it might be mediocre and not get the results that you want. So kind of we're representing ourselves, we're representing our companies, we're trying to persuade people to work with us through our output. And then you can go down to, kind of who's going to share a piece of content that's, a C grade.
Right.
Not many people.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that it's just like you're checking the box to say, oh, yes, I am blogging. Yes, I did put new content on the website. But if the whole point of you having a content strategy was to rank in Google and get leads, and you're writing shitty articles that are never going to rank for anything, you're really just kind of, you're in a hamster wheel, basically. So I'm with you on that.
Absolutely. And I think it goes down to kind of, and I know we're getting deep and philosophical here, it goes down to your own approach to your work and your own approach to your agency, or, kind of your freelance work, or whatever kind of stage you're at, kind of, are you somebody that just wants to churn out work as much as possible? Or are you somebody that is trying to create your legacy online and trying to, kind of put your opinions out there and attract the right people that you want to work with? And there's no right answer there, because everyone has their own motivations.
Sure.
If you are somebody that, kind of, just want to get through it, get done, then, that's all good. It's very personal. For me, I wouldn't be happy putting out a piece of work that I'm not intensely proud of. But that's just me. If you're somebody who's just like, yeah, no, I don't, whatever, it's grand, then pump out 3 C grade articles. It's entirely up to you,
Yeah, I wonder if there could be a difference too. Like both you and I have a bunch of articles already, right? So we already have a nice little library going. But if you're just starting out and you have nothing on your website, maybe it makes sense to get a little more quantity on there before you go to like a once a month cadence, which is just so slow to say like, oh, this year I added 12 blog posts to my my website. They better be like epic blog posts to be going that slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like with the content calendar and stuff, one of the things that I like to do to make sure that kind of stuff is getting updated is, I know it's a cliche or whatever, but I time block. So every single Thursday for 2 hours out of my week, I work on my business. And that's usually a blog, or it's usually kind of updating the website or whatever it is, or, kind of doing a guest post or whatever. But if you do struggle to kind of schedule out stuff, like, whether you're using Teamwork or Asana or ClickUp or whatever, add your own company as a project. And then set timelines for yourself and due dates for yourself. And don't be changing the due dates, because you're only fooling yourself, okay? You need to actually get it done when it's due. So treat your own website and your own marketing like you would a client, because, depending on your approach to work, if you're here, then you're probably not someone who's like, oh yeah, no, I meant to do this blog for you last month, but something else came up and I just browsed Reddit for like 6 hours instead. So I'll do it next month instead, But yeah, I would treat yourself like a client.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's helped me is like all of my tasks for my agency go in my project management system, just like any other task would for any client. But you're right. It is a whole lot easier to just kick your stuff, kick your tasks down the road a little bit. And you got to be really careful about doing that, because it's one thing, we talk about a lot is, you get busy. So you stop doing any kind of marketing and promotion and all that. Then you finish the projects you were busy on, or you look around and you go, oh, shit, I have nothing else to do, so then you have to go into panic mode. Writing articles in SEO isn't, write an article today, have a new client tomorrow. These are long-term strategies. So you have to constantly be putting the work into these things,
Absolutely. I think it's one of the most common kind of problems that I see with agency owners and, kind of freelancers and stuff, is the feast and famine cycle. And I think it does go down to that constant, like, putting a bunch of time and effort into promoting the company, and then, oh no, I need to fulfill the work now. And, kind of not maintaining that pace. So yeah, it's really important to just, kind of, even if it is just one blog a month, or, kind of you're preloading social updates, kind of once a day, at the beginning of the month, it's super important. Otherwise you will end up in a bit of a famine.
For sure. Well, we're getting close to time here. I want to cover a couple other quick little things real quick. Obviously, you're somebody that does research and thinks about all these things ahead of time. So I would love to know, who is the target audience for your all-in-one blogging pack? Like, if we're sitting here on the fence deciding, I don't know if I want to do this or not, who do you think is going to benefit the most from this product?
I tell you who it won't benefit, 100%. So if you are an agency that already has kind of like SOPs or procedures already in place, if you already have a way of blogging that you're very happy with, that you are consistently creating content with, this isn't for you. This is for people that are struggling to start selling content as a recurring service. It's for people that really need a bit of help just to kind of create their own stuff or create stuff for clients. If you're an established writer, or if you're an experienced content writer, you're probably not going to find this helpful. However, if you're somebody that's like, oh, I know I need to blog, I want to offer it as a recurring service, I either don't have the budget or don't have the option of hiring a content writer right now, this is kind of a nice little in between. And whether you are writing the content yourself, because there are prompts in there to help you create blog posts where you're not just staring at an empty screen, this will help. Or if you're using AI, and there's no AI prompts in here, by the way, and that's not why this is created, but you can use it with AI as well if you want. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say, so it's mainly for agency owners, web developers, kind of anyone in the digital space, in the admin bar, that is, kind of blogging on their own site, either wants to start blogging for clients or needs an easier way to blog for clients.
Nice. Love it. And you can go to contentgoodies.com and you can see the all-in-one blogging pack is on here, as well as the website Copywriting Accelerator pack, which we did a call on back when you launched that. It's probably been a year ago or something.
It's been a year. Yeah.
So there's information on that as well, which is really helpful. I guess while we're here, tell people what that one's used for in case they go to Content Goodies and see that.
Yes, the website Copywriting Accelerator Pack, aside from being an absolute mouthful of a product name, why I named it that, I don't know. But yeah, it's basically templates and guides for creating website copy. So it's sectioned out: homepage, about page, service page, like overall service page, and then an inner service page and a contact page. So you can use it for brochure sites, service-based companies, that kind of thing. You can use it for your own agency as well. There is kind of guides to clients that want to use it as well. So you can white label, it's unbranded. So you can literally just make a copy of the Google Docs that are included, and then you can make copies of it, send it to clients. You can, your own content copywriters can use it if you want as well. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, what I love about it is like it's basically copywriting wireframe, right? So it's like, okay, in this first section, you kind of need this information, and it'll say, okay, and here's tips on how this information should be formatted and the things you should be thinking about that go in this section. And then you go down to the next section. So if you've ever like just asked your client for copy before, and it takes months and you get nothing, or it comes back in terrible format, this is really great for that, because it's more of a fill in the blank style. It's like, okay, in this first section, here's about how much content I need. Here's what, here's what the topic should be. Here's some good tips on what to write. We need some kind of call to action here. And it just walks them through step by step, which is really, really great.
It marks out kind of meta titles and descriptions. It also marks out H1s, H2s, H3s, because I know that a lot of clients that are trying to do it themselves don't understand it. So, kind of it's like, oh, put a keyword in your H1, put a key phrase in your H2, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's basically like a mini wireframe of home, about, service, inner service, and contact.
Perfect. All right, let's run through again. I'm going to put all the links back in the chat while you're talking here, along with the coupon code. The coupon code is thanks, Kyle, for $100 off, which is super generous. So thanks, Abby, for that.
No worries.
You mentioned, you kind of ran through earlier all the different sections that are inside of here. Why don't you do that again, just so we make sure everybody understands everything they're getting inside of here?
Yes. So to summarize, no videos as of yet. They will be coming further on down the line. So the sections are how to sell blogs, which includes different types of clients, how to price blogging, which I know a lot of agencies do struggle with, benefits of blogging you can show your clients, blog writing stats. And then we have how to research blogs, so how to write great blog titles, how to choose the right topics, how to write blogs, so best practices, blog writing checklist. There's also a little freebie of 50 titles to help inspire you to write blogs. So you could literally just take that 50 titles and then give them to clients to pick out, kind of what they think would work best. Then how to optimize blogs, so how to do keyword research, the resources that we use in-house. And then we have a blog brief template, free blog templates for your agency. So there's 3 templates and titles already created for you as an agency owner. And then we have a content calendar template, and then we have I think it's 6 or 7 blog type templates around the most common types of blogs that people write.
I mean, to me, what it sounds like is like, if you're not offering copy right now or content writing as far as blogs, this is basically the entire system and process. You need to just plug this into your agency to start offering it right away, which is pretty awesome. Because if I were to have to try to figure all this out on my own, it's going to take a lot longer than it would take me to purchase this and implement it right away. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Sweet. Well, Abby, I really appreciate it. I always love chatting with you on here. We'll do it again, I'm sure, sometime soon in the future. Do you have any ideas of what's coming next, content goodies? Do we have any secrets to spoil here? Or?
Do you know what I said to my team? Because I get these little flashes of inspiration, like, we're going to do another content goodies. And they're all like, really? Again? Are you? I'm like, yes, we are. The next one I'm thinking of doing is a little hiring pack. So everything you need to vet and question and hire and, kind of copywriters and content writers. So whether that is in-house or whether that is finding an outsourcer, that kind of stuff. I'm thinking anyway, nothing set in stone, but yeah.
Well, I have been behind the curtains on Abby's process to hire people for her own agency, and she is very meticulous about it. So I'm sure there'd be lots of value in that.
Thank you. Yeah, my poor team. I was saying about hiring an editor, and I was just like, it's 7 steps and it takes a few weeks.
Yeah, it'll take a little while. Well, sweet. Well, Abby, I hope you have a great weekend, and thanks again for coming on and sharing this with us. And thanks for the awesome coupon code too. Remember, thanks, Kyle, inside that little coupon spot to save you $100. So that's not bad. All right. Well,
thank you so much for having me, Carl. I always really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime. You're always welcome. All right. Well, I'm glad to have everybody here watching with us live. If you would, make sure to hit like on this stream. I should have asked this way earlier when there was more people watching before everybody left. And also, if you haven't subscribed, I would do that. We're getting super, super close to hitting 5,000 subscribers, which will be a nice little milestone for me. I think as of this morning, we were like 77 away, so we could do it. Next month, we should hit it. So appreciate all of you being here, and we will catch you on the next thing. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.